Maneva say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo
of a criminal. When a thief has stolen, anybody can still have that thief, because you can't defend some of the things that we did. And when I say we, as members of parliament in parliament on the issue of these approvals, so it's just, it hurts, it's unfortunate. I just hope that this one shall also pass. However, on the issue of the Electoral Commission, I think that the concerns that people have raised, one has to do with the political consciousness or partisanship of those individuals. I have seen a video where the gentleman, the only man, you know, among the three appointees, or is it nominees? It's appointees, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they are appointed. They are not like the commissioner and then the deputies. Happen to be an NPP activist. I've seen a video where he participated, I think, a TESCON program in one of the tertiary institutions, and urging them that to make sure that they elect SRC presidents who are members of the NPP. Such a person is unfit to be a member of the Electoral Commission. But this is not surprising. The commissioner, I have stated, the Electoral Commissioner herself, you remember on this program and on several platforms, I stated that she was and she's still an activist of the NPP. And I remember I said on TV that she was a family relation to the First Lady, Akuffo Addo. And Kukubaku sat on Good Morning Ghana and said without any evidence, or he was pretending that what the statement I made wasn't true. No, he said it on News File, I think so. And also subsequently on Good Morning Ghana, that I claimed that Jane Mensah was a family relation to the First Lady was not true. Only for it to be proven in open court that she was indeed, and she's indeed, a family member of the Akuffo Addo. And not aside being a family member, an activist of the NPP. There is no denying that fact. Dr. Bosmanasari, when I was in Lagos, I think he was my 2 years senior. He was in the political science department and I was in the psychology department. And if you know the University of Ghana, the departments are on the same compound. So we easily knew. And we all knew those who were active in the NPP student, front, and those of us who were active in the NDC student front. When I came to University of Ghana to do my PhD, he was the head of the department at the political science department. That was the very year he was nominated as the Deputy Electoral Commissioner. At the time when he was nominated, he was the TESCON patron, or whether he had just handed over to someone, but he had been a TESCON patron before. That is the NPP wing. So this is an activist of NPP. The question is that if they were able to appoint, President Nado was able to appoint these two NPP activists, and nothing happened. Sirbo, who doesn't know that Sirbo is an NPP person? The question is, what did we do when these 2 or 3 individuals were appointed as the Electoral Commission? And they were appointed purposely to ensure that they do the bidding of President Nado, most importantly in the 2020 elections. You remember when Kennedy Japan took on Charlotte Osei? People like Eslausu, who pretend to be fighting for women in this country, defended the abusive words that Kennedy Japan used against Charlotte Osei and supported every statement, no matter how vulgar those statements were made against Charlotte Osei. And there wasn't any basis. Betrayally, in fact, aside the betrayal of NDC members of parliament in the elections of, or in the approval of these ministers, another bigger betrayal was Kukubaku's attitude towards, Charlotte Osei. My understanding was that they are somewhat related in any case. So it means that political interest at any point in time by people is supreme, because that is the collective they associate themselves with. The only thing that I think that cannot assuage anybody's interest is your religion, like me. But when it comes to any other thing, the political party I ascribe to should motivate my behavior. And like he said, he agrees and thinks that his ideological position resonates with the ideology of the political party he belongs. What is shocking is the loud silence of some of the civil society organizations and some religious leaders in this country. The peace of this country is anchored on what happens in the elections. And I was shocked to hear the president say that elections are determined by voters. Elections are not determined by those who count or those who collate or those who declare results. And I was shocked to hear the president make that statement, because that statement can be likened to performance of students in an exams are determined by students. They are not determined by those who mark. That's what the president is telling us. Your performance in an exam as a student is determined by what you wrote. Strangely, someone would have to mark, and that person needs to be fair-minded. The one who is going to mark your paper must be fair-minded, sincere. Now, if you have the one who is going to mark your paper hates you as a student and wants to deliberately fail, you fail. So for a president to say that elections, the validity of elections are determined by the voters and not those who do that, then the president must not even be the president, because he's a president representing the people of this country. So the governance of this country should be determined by the people of this country and not the one who is at the helm of affairs. And I heard the president make this statement. How many civil society organizations condemn that statement? We have seen several of such in many African countries. That the violence that those countries experience are attributed to the processes of changing their leadership. Kenya is a classical example where thousands of people were maimed. Kenya is a classical example. Ivory Coast is another example. And in the case of Ivory Coast, the elections were not even conducted when the turmoil started. Liberia, many people do not even know. The Liberian conflict had to do with the selection of leadership in those countries. So we should all be mindful of the processes leading to that. The only reason why President Nana Addo bent on appointing these people and did so is for him to be able to manipulate the elections in 2024. And he is doing so because of Dr. Bawumia. Because he thinks that Dr. Bawumia is the only person who can protect the loot of the Akuffo Addo's family. I am telling you, if Dr. Bawumia was not running, President Nana Addo wouldn't have given a jot as to who becomes the appointee, who he appoints to the electorate. He is doing so because of one single agenda. But you see, I always say this in Allah says in the Holy Quran, وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ, that they plan and Allah plan. But Allah is the master of all what? Of all plans. And you can attribute it to those who they think that they are sabotaging President Mahama for whatever reason. Whatever plan you do, Allah is the best master of all plans. Look, you can manipulate the system regardless the concerns expressed by people. You can do anything. The 2024 elections, you are losing it. And if it is written by Allah that you lose the 2024 elections, no matter who you make the electoral commissioner or commissioners or staff at the electoral commission, you will lose that elections. We have seen many countries where such manipulations were done. Ivory Coast, once again, is another example. Yet that when the time is up, the time is up. Look, I want to see civil society organization being the loudest. Unfortunately, Senna, and I want to criticize the media too. It's like a section of the Ghanaian media is zombified. It's zombified. Anything Nana Addo does, there is nothing wrong with that. Look, a lot of the things that are done under this government that are not criticized by the media, a section of the clergy, and even a section of the civil society in this country, an iota of such was not even attempted under President Mahama, and everybody, they went to the hills. Everybody. And I'm happy she is here after she lambasted the MPs. You had a Professor Addo and co, who said that President Mahama was running a family and friends government, when you had only Joyce Bauer as a deputy minister for transport, and before her appointment, a lawyer in practice for 18 years. The president himself said on Kumasi that he wasn't going to run family and friends government, only for the president to appoint to the extent that appointed baby mamas as ambassadors in his administration. Yet these people didn't see anything wrong with that. All the issues the NDC is raising, and at least some selected media such as Radio Gold, Pan Africa TV, you stand out in some of your positions on this, and some few selected civil society organizations. I haven't heard any clergy says anything about this. I haven't heard a single religious leader in this country point out to this president that this is unacceptable. My disappointment also has to do with the Council of Elders. Council of States. Council of States' responsibility is to advise the government and the president and tell him where you are heading is danger. Now, I have heard people who express disappointment because they think that the president didn't do due diligence in identifying the politics or the partisanship of these individuals. And I say, if you say so, you'll be more disappointed. The president looked for them. He knew the people he wanted to appoint. Members of the Council of States, unfortunately, also knew. What kind of advice did they give the president? Did they tell the president that what the president was doing was unacceptable? And if they didn't do so, then do you think that it would be relevant to have the Council of Elders, a Council of States any longer? And if they did so and the president refused to heed, wouldn't you think that that would be enough grounds for some of them to resign? Because if you have a responsibility to give that advice to the president, and the advice is given in a critical decision he wanted to take, such as this, and he refuses to heed your advice for no any other reason, I think that it will be untenable if you have some conscience to continuously occupying that office and serving that particular body. So I think that, look, this matter has not and must not be left to rest here. The validity of elections are not determined just on the elections day. The processes leading to the elections all are contributory factors to determine whether the elections you conduct were valid or not. Now, if people began raising concerns about the process, people are raising genuine concerns, and there are video clips where the gentleman is doing NPP politicking, and those concerns are not heeded, and anything happen, who should one blame? The peace of this country, and whatever happens, unfortunately, as a result of this conduct, certain individuals will be held responsible. The president and the vice president, the electoral commissioner and her deputies will be held responsible for whatever happens as a result of some of these belligerents not to listen to even reasoning and taking decisions that we all collectively think would inure to the benefit of this country.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before I come to you, lawyer, okay, I'm still the messages I'm still getting. Still going back to the first topic.
I know.
This one says, Senator, if you're in a country whereby even bank tellers call persons to jump the queue to be served because they tip them, how much more politicians for that matter? Members of Parliament, I'm not surprised with the outcome. As for the NDC, they are not thinking of winning. These people, they will kill and win because, okay, he says the chief killer was endorsed yesterday by their members. Okay, so that's one of the messages that are being sent. And there's this one which says, we are disappointed in the shameless betrayal and double standard behavior of the NDC MP. We can't trust them any longer. Richmond Aholu sent that from Angloga. This one says, okay.
So I tell them some of us didn't betray the NDC.
Yeah, there's this one which says, please, Senator, Honorable Ricky Tegan just confirmed our suspicion as grassroots supporters this morning when he said on another TV station that there are 3 issues or reasons that make some of the NDC members vote the way they did according to him. The reasons were 1, to sabotage the current minority leadership, 2, greed on the part of those who did what they did, 3, relation with nominees as friends and family relations. Thank you for the good work you're doing. Bryce sent that from Joapon. This one says the NDC as the problem with some NDC members, okay. NDC as a political party is not the option for now because most of the MPs are not trustworthy and have been compromised. Ghanaians should express their anger. Okay, thank you very much for that message. There's Puzem from the Upper East region. Yesterday I wept within me and asked myself, can this NDC party be trusted with some floating voters, which I'm party? Aren't NDC members in parliament aware that Ghanaians are suffering? There's, this one says, Senator, tell Murtala and his NDC MPs in parliament that they are killing us, their supporters slowly. Nikote sent that from Ashaiman in Zeno. There's this one. Okay. Alaji Hamza in Pig Farm says, good morning. In fact, what happened yesterday in parliament is a very serious indictment on the part of some of the minority in parliament. What the minority should know is that they are in parliament because of the party, and for that matter, the interest of the party should come first. I would throw a challenge to MPs who betray the position to go independent and see whether they can make it to parliament. Trust this majority will ever suspect the minority again. okay, trust this, the majority will never respect the minority again in parliament, simply because some of them can sell their conscience for peanuts. I sometimes wonder whether we are ready for power. Honorable Murtala, I'm so proud of you because I've demonstrated to show your loyalty to the party and the people from your constituency. It shall be well with you. That's Hamza sending that one. This one says, Sana, good morning to you. In fact, watching proceedings yesterday at Parliament, I was disheartened and totally lost in our MPs. But I know there are some good ones who stood by the party's decision. My regards to Comrade Murtala and Honorable Haruna Idrisu. This one sender is from Tamale. Then this one says, no one should even entertain these NDC MPs at all. Okay. Ghanaians will be having the shock of their life when these NDC MPs endorse the new CI, which the EC has brought before them. Mark my words. Even sent that from Aplao. Then this one from NS Bado, who says, Mr. Owos, I had a broken heart yesterday after the announcement of the speaker. Okay. He is naming some people he says must be sacked from the party. Then there's this one. Murtala, don't blame the person who leaked your video. He has vindicated you. There's this one which says, I agree with Honorable Nkomit. It's God or Allah who gives and takes. The president can even act as the EC. When God or Allah said you will lose, it will be. God help us. Lawyer.
Yeah, so on a lighter note, I'll say that really Sodom Gomorrah, Jadim, confusion also that's on a lighter note. On this issue of the EC and then the purported NPP member being appointed by His Excellency to be the commissioner, I think because of the seriousness of the issue, I would wish that we discuss this issue on a non-partisan basis, because see, what is at stake is the health of our very democracy. See, in 1992, after so many years in the wilderness, the people of Ghana decided that enough of dictatorship in whichever form or shape it takes. We were going to take upon ourselves a constitution, and we were going to be governed by that constitution, the rule of law, constitutional democracy. And we recognized that the best form that it all had to take was in a multi-party shape. So essentially what it means that we said, look, so right now people's power, and we feel that the best way of doing it is to have different parties. So if let's form different parties, and then let the people of Ghana then decide who will lead and who will become president and all. Now, we also recognized that for the system that we have chosen for ourselves to work, then there had to be arbiters, or people who had to be neutral. They are like the referees. Because then, if you are going to practice a multi-party democracy, then there will be a need for election, and that elections could be contested by multiple people, and whatever the results are, everybody has to accept it. And for that to work, then we need a referee. And so our constitution also provided for what? An AC. And certainly somebody must appoint the AC. So powers were given. But you see, in the system of governance that we have taken upon ourselves, some people have to be partisan. I am partisan. My brother here is partisan. My auntie here is partisan. It's normal, because for this system to work, then certain people have to be partisan. In the same way, certain people cannot be allowed to be partisan. Is it in law or in justice? There's something that we see, that justice must not only be done, it must manifestly be seen to be done. So it is, for me, it is a similar attitude that I wish to take in who takes up certain roles, so who becomes EC. So whoever is EC, for the health of our democracy, you understand, and for the ultimate safety of all of us, for the peace that we are enjoying, then that person must not just be neutral and independent. That person must be manifestly be seen to be neutral. So when you have been given the power to appoint the EC, that should be one of the abiding principles as to who you choose or who you do not choose. Because we all agree here that yes, we belong to different parties, but we have one agenda, and that agenda is the well-being of Ghana. And the well-being of Ghana beyond the economics and all, or let me say, even for the economy to grow, for us to grow economy, you need a certain platform. And that platform is a platform of peace, a platform where you can speak your mind, you can express yourself and not be afraid. So, because of these principles, I think that when an EC is being appointed, then that EC cannot have the color of party. The EC votes. So I don't believe in the neutrality of anybody, because the EC also votes. The EC also have a choice. But for us, for this system of governance that we have chosen ourselves, for it to work, and it is important that it works, irrespective of the fact that the EC votes, nobody should, as ordinary, as in when in the proper sense of the word, I shouldn't be able to predict where the EC will vote. So on that basis, and I've seen videos. I don't know the person. I don't know if it's really well, the videos weren't clear. But if, let's say, the person isn't even the party a card-bearing member, but goes on TV and then talks on behalf of the party, I think for all intents and purposes, that person has taken himself away from the possibility of even being considered for an EC. So like myself, all of us here, we cannot be appointed as ECs. Nobody should ever think of appointing me as EC. When I've come on air, I sit on platforms and everybody knows my color, my position. And then when the purpose of the position for which you are appointing the purpose is to serve as an arbiter, that you require, it is necessary that you are independent and neutral, then that principle, the same principle about justice. So it is not enough that you are neutral. You should manifestly be seen to be neutral. There cannot be any kind of perception that questions your neutrality. You understand? So yes, I've heard arguments that the president has the mandate to appoint, and the qualification is like parliament. It's like, so one of the persons, because what the law is that if you are qualified to be a parliamentarian, then yes, you see, we should, when you read the qualification there, it's about you should be more than 20. You shouldn't have allegiance to any country. Those kind of things. But you see, and also you see, the law, every law or the constitution, as what has been espoused in so many cases, has a spirit, has a letter, but also has a spirit, and you can glean the spirit from the values of the people, but also from the purpose for which, let's say, that position was created. And the EC is a position, that's essentially like a referee in a football match. So if in a football match, so like like England, all the referees are made to state the clubs they support. So that to the extent, so let's say I'm a Liverpool supporter. So let's say if a referee supports Liverpool, Liverpool's rivals are Manchester United, Everton. Yeah, you understand? So even if Everton are playing against somebody else, a referee that supports Liverpool will not be made to handle that match, because it is necessary that we create a system where people can freely accept results or elections results. You see, if you look critically at the pattern of our election results beyond after 96, most of our election results are so close that, but for the fact that we, the Ghanaians, we accept the fidelity of our voting, would have been in chaos, and one of the reasons why we accept is because we have never been put in a position where we can doubt the neutrality of the EC. And so I would take a principled position. My position is that if those videos are true, I don't know about Bossman, So I take it as a mere allegation. I don't know. Oh no, the point I'm trying to make is that but you have alleged it.
You should know.
I was in tech. I was in tech, so I could have known. I was in tech, so I could have known. So let's say it's an allegation. So I don't know about Bossman. I don't know about the EC, whether or not she's an activist. I don't think she's an activist. But what I'm saying is that if it's clear, and it shouldn't matter who, it's principle. You see, in life, when you follow principle, you make things easy. The fact that you have the power to appoint, you understand, also requires that you should understand that in your appointments, so the president can appoint so many people. You appoint ministers, you appoint you. For some of the appointments, there's a need for you to be partisan. You understand? If you're appointing a minister, you can't convince me that the so-called minister is the only person who is qualified. And maybe because of the policy you are playing, maybe you will be partisan. But when you're appointing to certain positions like AC, even Shiraj, you cannot be partisan because of the roles that they are meant to play. Now, so I beg, as in, let us be clear. If it is the case, and if it is true, and I've seen videos, I'm saying the videos I've seen, as in, is not. But if indeed is the same person, then I beg, Mr. President, recall him, because we've, as in. At least I remember times under PNDC, you understand, and I remember times under we cannot trade this at democracy, this at public for anything, and must do everything in our power to protect the sanctity of this democracy, and that means that we cannot afford to appoint anybody who any shred of doubt can be had as to their neutrality, because what is at stake is the well-being of Greater Ghana. And on this issue, we can't be partisan. And if the appointee, the AC is NPP, then I beg, his appointment must be revoked and withdrawn. That's my position.
Thank you very much. Like I say, a lot of the messages still continue to be the first topic. Tete Ofori says, good morning, Senator. Please, with the greatest respect, I and 98% of the grassroots NDC are very deeply disappointed in most of our MPs, especially the cash out and stomach MPs.
Whenever I say PENDREAM TV, there, I see them,